and welcome to Yakking It Up, Episode 3 How I Fell in Love, Part 2. This is your host, Medusa. Let's get into it. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for tuning in, and my apologies for the week late post. I was uncomfortably sick last weekend, and my partner was just working on getting me better, so there's that, and let's get started. Where I left off was the second time we met up, which I would have considered like our first date. He agreed to come to my RV for the night, and he said he had all these plans and wouldn't let it out. He wanted to surprise me, so I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Um, as soon as I heard his diesel truck pulling up the driveway, I got instantly excited. I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to see him again. And I was so nervous. I couldn't like even thinking about it. I still can't form the words properly. But it was great. He looked so good. He had his bag. I can't believe I'm really doing this. I'm letting someone spend the night at my place. It was something so new for me and a little unnerving, but it was definitely worth it. Almost as soon as he got there, the rain started. And so we decided to just like stay in for a bit, snuggled up on the couch, talked story, waited for the rain to pass and help calm my jitters down a little bit. Then he's like, "That's all right, let's get going." So like the gentleman that he is opened my door, helped me get in, and we took off. He started playing country music, which is something I was not used to at the time, but I have absolutely fallen in love with. And he was really sweet. He was holding my hand while he was driving, and it was great. It was like really smooth, very comfortable. We get to what they call the stockyards out in Fort Worth, and it was really cool. I had never been to anything like that before, and everyone was walking around, and people were drinking and having fun. We stopped by this place called Cavender's, which I had never been to before, and he was looking for a new pair of jeans. I'm like, all right, that's cool. So we're looking around. They got some cool cowboy boots, got some pretty cool Western clothing, and tries on a couple of jeans, and then he finds this pair that looked really, really good. I mean, dangerously good. Even to this day, he still looks good in them. And then we went to lunch at this great Mexican joint, and then he wanted to take me to something called Billy Bob's. Apparently, it's the biggest dance hall in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So we go there, and there wasn't a lot of people, which was nice, and got to walk around, see all the handprints on the walls, check out the dance floors, different bars they had there, and there was a band that was going to be performing that night, and they were doing sound checks, so that was pretty cool. There was a couple people on the dance floor, and I was kind of looking on like I wanted to dance, and he asked me. I was like, no, I don't know how to, and I don't really want to dance in slippers, and I just felt awkward and weird, so we watched them for a bit, and then he jumped off the stool. He's like, come on. I was like, oh, we're going? He's like, just come on. So I had no idea what we were doing. We went back to Cavender's after checking out a couple of boutiques and getting my feet sized in one of the fancier boutiques where they custom make shoes, and which was a pretty cool experience itself. And we go back to Cavender's, and we're looking at boots, and I'm like, oh God, please tell me this man is not going to buy me boots. And I've known him for maybe a week. That I just felt so bad, and so I was trying to like look at like cheaper boots, and they didn't really have my size, so we looked on the nicer shelf, and I was looking, and I was getting really anxious. I was looking at the price tags. I'm like, oh my God, these are almost $300. I felt so uncomfortable. I am not, and still am not used to receiving gifts like that, or gifts in general. So I tried some on, and I found a really cool pair, and he's like, those are the ones I'm going to get. He's like, all right, let's get them. I'm like, oh God, no, what are you doing? You don't even know me. And he's already spending so much money on me from spending so much money on me the weekend before. I felt so guilty at the register. I was like really trying to hold back tears. And by the time we walked outside, I was crying. And he was so concerned, asking me if I was okay. I was like, I'm just not used to someone spending that kind of money on me or getting me something so nice. And I was just very thankful. And he was very sweet and very kind to me, even though it was a complete nut job. um, get the boots on, and we walk back to Billy Bob's, and he teaches me how to two-step, and oh God, it was so much fun. I don't remember the last time I had so much fun up until that point. And we danced a bit, and then we listened to the band that was supposed to perform later that evening, and it was great. It was an amazing first date, and I couldn't have been any happier. If I'm not mistaken, I think we went back to my place and made dinner, I think with swordfish and veggies, and it was great. He was fantastic. He went with me shopping and got some seasonings that I didn't have, and he was just amazing. And I was just like in complete awe. We woke up the next morning, and he was making coffee, and he has this like Sunday country song playlist, and he was playing it, and the songs were just so sweet. They were so loving, and it was just a really comforting weekend together. And I was hooked. I mean, I was hooked from the first weekend, and he just made me more intrigued. At this point, I wasn't even thinking about my other partners. They just were so insignificant at this point. I don't mean to sound harsh or cruel, but it's kind of true. I unexpectedly found someone who I was drawn to and wanted to get to know better instead of just messing around. And although at this time our contract was just, for our dynamic, him being the dom and me being the sub, and adjusting it to, fit our needs. It was simple. It was light. It wasn't hard. It wasn't complicated. And he left that Sunday afternoon, and I was just kind of in this like bubble of awe. Just could not believe that I know this dude, and the things that we've done so far, and just in two times meeting him, it was crazy. And it's kind of how it's been, ever since that very first weekend of seeing him. We've seen each other every single weekend since, and it's been over a year. And there's been times where he's only been able to come home for 24 hours, and he's made it work. Even when he had to drive all the way out to me, before we moved in together officially, it was a 3-hour drive from where he had to park his rig to where I was living, and then 3 hours back. So he was definite. Just that dedication alone to seeing me every weekend, costing him 6 hours, was really heartfelt to me. I was really touched that I seemed like I was worth spending that amount of time just driving. And he's helped me really realize my self-worth, which is something that's been important. I've been on a really intensive healing journey that I don't always work on. It's kind of just fizzles out sometimes, and he's been really great with that. He's learned, my little isms, and worked his way around my little ADHD aspects of my personality that even I'm trying to get used to. But the dates were just always great. We'd go to the museums, we'd go to stores and window shop, and just that was fun. He would hold me, and we'd be cuddling, just walking through the stores, and even that was sweet. Hold my hand everywhere we go, open every door for me. Just a true gentleman, like hearty gentleman, like a real Texan. Very sweet, and just like a very commanding presence that just kind of always has my head spinning. It was about 2 months into seeing each other when he was like, "Oh, why don't we go camping?" I'm like, "Just the two of us and my dog? Okay, we'll see how that goes." I'd never gone camping in the mainland. I didn't know what to expect. I've only, camped back home in Hawaii and with friends or family, like never just me and some guy that I'm seeing. So it was definitely an experience. Made notes for how to make it a little smoother next time, but we had a blast. It was a place called Possum Kingdom and or PK, and it was beautiful. We had probably the best camping spot that we probably could have in the entire park, and it was private, and it was right next to the bathrooms, right next to the lake. Got to fish, got to swim, raft, and it was just so much fun. He bought these amazing zero gravity chairs for us and this new tent for us. I was like, this man is just like, he is, what is he? Like, who just like lavishly takes care of someone like that? And it just meant a lot. It's a way of him showing his affection in his way. And I'm coming to learn that and being able to accept that, because someone spoiling me as much as he does is still something that I feel like I don't deserve. And I'm trying to, realize my worth as well. That if he wants to do that and that's what he makes him happy, then okay, I'm okay with that. But the camping trip was a success. My dog loved it because he loves the water. And yeah, I think about a month after that, we went to go visit his mom, and it was the first time I was meeting her and her boyfriend, and she's just the sweetest lady. Like, they laugh when I call her sweet because she's just very wholeheartedly Texas, West Texan. They're tough. They're tough people out there, but I think she's sweet. She treated me with nothing but respect, and they were really great and very accommodating of us and having us over, and it was a really great time. It's very much out there in the boonies. Not a lot out there. I think the biggest store is a place called Berkshire, but it was nice. It was nice to kind of unplug because she does not have great internet out there, to the dismay of my partner. It drives him nuts. But it was nice to kind of just be out in nature and on their land and be in the garden and the shop and the backyard and chill with their gigantic golden retriever, Barley. And it was really nice. It was my first time ever meeting, a partner's parents. So it was nervous and nerve-wracking. But her and the boyfriend, they were fantastic. They were awesome. Um, but the significant thing, other than meeting them for the first time for that trip, was the drive home. It was about a 6-hour drive back to where I lived. And, it's getting dark and the stars are starting to come out, and there's not a lot of lights out on the highway out there. And it was gorgeous. It was pitch black, but there was a million stars, like my dream setting. All of a sudden, he pulls over. And not saying anything, he just pulls over and then starts driving down this like dirt road. I'm like, all right. I told him I had a kidney disease and they're not good, so he can't steal these. It's too late. You've known me for 3 months. It's too late to do that. But we kept driving a little bit, and then he finally stopped and pulled to the side. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, you said you love being underneath the stars. I figured, what a better time than to pull over and play some music and dance. I was like, what? So he put on some music and grabbed my hand, and we started to dance in the middle of a dirt road underneath the most starriest night I had seen since being in Texas. And I was so overwhelmed. Even now, talking about it gets me a little choked up because it was such a special night for me. Mainly because I had told him how much I love being underneath like a blanket of stars and just being able to stare at them, and how much he knows how much I have loved dancing with him. And it was just amazing. And he would just stare at me. He was just staring at me, which I'm also not comfortable with. I'm getting used to, but he was so sweet, and we were just talking a little bit, and he had told me how much he loved my heart. That was a big reason why he liked me, was how big my heart was, and all this very sweet things that I'm going to keep for myself. But I was just like, what are you doing to me? Like, I think he started tearing up a little bit. And he had asked me, have you ever been in love before? And I was like, oh, God. What is this man doing to me? Because like a week prior, I was talking to my best friend and who I've known for 21, 22 years. And she was saying, before you move in with this dude, you should like realize like if you're in love with him or not, because it wouldn't be worth it. Like I think you do, and you deserve it. You deserve to be loved. And I had been on the fence. I had never been in love with someone before. I've loved people, my people, and I've given so much love to people in my life, and it was never received or returned back in the same way. And I've never had someone to share love with. And when he asked me that, my heart started to race, and I told him I had never been in love up until this point, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, definitely on my mind, and I just like looked at him. I'm like, told him that he changed my world, that he turned my life upside down in the best way possible, and it was just such a great moment, such a feel good moment, like one of those moments, core memories that you just will never forget for the rest of your life. And it was awesome. The drive home, I was just kind of like in a euphoric state of mind, and um, I just didn't know what to do, didn't know what to say. And then we had talked about, I'm ready to have like it just be you. Like he is my only male partner. Um, and so we had amended our contract to say that, he wouldn't have any other female partners, I wouldn't have any other male partners, with the addendum that I am allowed to have a female partner if I so choose. And in what capacity that would be discussed, I think, if that ever came up, because I am more of polyamorous than he is. He can only handle one woman at a time, which I'm thankful for because I cannot handle him with another woman. But yeah, we amended that and decided, oh, we're gonna, find a place together, closer to his route, which would be about 5 hours away from where I was currently living. And the first weekend, he took me out there because this was the second town we had looked at. Um, when he took me out there, I brought my dog Batman with us, and the three of us stayed on the rig the whole weekend and took my car and would drive around the town and whatnot. And it seemed really interesting, and it was kind of out there from everything, but there was a lot going on. It wasn't a huge metroplex, but it wasn't a small little town either. A good in between, and it was great. It was wonderful. That Saturday night, we were hanging out at the rig after dinner, and it was a nice, cool night. And he grabbed me from my chair, and we started dancing in the parking lot right next to his rig, and it was magical. Is all I could say. I think that's when I finally realized that I am in love with this dude. Like, damn it. When did that happen? It happened so suddenly. Like, we'd barely been together for 3 months. And just a dynamic, let alone a relationship, and mixed in with that. And I was just in awe because I wasn't sure if that made sense. But then again, we're in our mid 30s. He's a couple years older than me. We are who we are. We know what we want in life, the major things. And what's the point in wasting time? If you found someone that you want to be with and you're old enough and you're mature enough to know what you want, then might as well just leave. Might as well just jump in, take that chance. We only see each other on the weekends, at that point, because being an over the road trucker, he was busy all during the week, and the next day is when I would be heading back home, and we were chilling out, got breakfast, and then hanging out in the back of my car in the open trunk while my dog was using the bathroom, and I was like, "You got to do it. You just do it. I want to do it in person. I don't want to say it over the phone. I don't want to wait anymore. I just want to say it. I gotta say it." And so I was kind of like snuggled up behind him, like sitting behind him, and I was like, "You want to know something?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I love you." And without even missing a beat, not even a second, he's like, "I love you." I was like, "Oh," and I was just silent for a while. I couldn't believe I had said it. I couldn't believe he said it back. Like that was not needed. I just needed to be able to say it myself. And yeah, that's how it went. We finally found a place about 2, 3 months later. Um, did the moving back and forth during the week. He was working. I at that time was no longer working. There was a COVID issue at my job that I had at the time, and it was either do this or quit, and we all quit, which was perfect because he wanted to help and support me while I was trying to get my GED. I hadn't had it because of my upbringing and things that went down in it, and he had a lot of faith in me, um, and he did it for months. He supported me for months and months, and I really struggled with that. Him supporting me that way, I felt so guilty, but it worked. By February, I granted longer than it should have taken, but I finally got my GED, and it was one of the most fulfilling things I have done in my adulthood. He had walked in the door right when I was getting my test results, and as soon as I said it, I just started bawling, crying, and he was holding me, and I just couldn't believe I had accomplished something that I never thought I would. But that's what he does. He helps me become independent in my life. It's not just relying on him for everything. It's, yes, he is my dom, and yes, he's there to take care of me and help me through things, but he also supports me and makes me stronger and wants me to be able to be independent, for things and know that I can do things on my own, that I don't need someone to be there for me, but he is that person that is there for me. So it has been a long road, and it was a rough winter, and it's been an adjustment living with someone, even though it's not full time since he's not home full time, but it's been such an amazing experience, and I constantly tell myself and people in my life that my life doesn't feel real. The last 3 or 4 years since leaving the cold, and my life has felt like a movie or a TV series. Like the things that have happened to me, just there's no way they're real, and there's no way this man exists. There's no way this is real. I'm like dreaming or something, because even though we might not always agree and we may argue, he's still someone that I could never imagine my life without. There's so much uniqueness to him that I never imagined that everything I could crazily want in a person could exist in one person. And it does. And he continues to surprise me day to day, not just with gifts, but with just who he is and his loving nature and his very madness. But he's so soft at the same time because of the way that he cares for me and my dog. It shows a lot about a person, how they treat your animal and how they treat you. And to say, I want to thank the women in his life that let him go, because they're idiots. He's amazing, and it was for the right reasons. Like, we need to find each other, and I don't think we were fated to meet each other. I think we both went through a whole lot in our lives to bring us to where we are, and I'm glad we did. As much as I never wanted to live in Texas, I now can't imagine being anywhere else if he's not there. And I'm so glad I came here and I met him, and I don't mean for it to sound cheesy, or I'm pretty sure I got sidetracked and off topic, and I apologize, but he is just perfect for me. He's not perfect, but he's perfect for me. And we complement each other very well. I think we are very well suited We are very similar and also very opposite in a lot of ways that we will dive into as time goes on. But that is all for today. I know I kind of ran off on this one, but thank you. If you stuck it out this long, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And I hope you folks have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time. Blessed be.